Stupid ass float on the front air conditioner started, it wouldn't shut off. It kept leaking, so it was leaking. I went and prepped it and cleaned it up, and when I cleaned it up, it started up again, but it was going to eventually happen. It was going to leak like that. It wasn't a question of if, it was just a question of when, right? So it's the little washer that they have on there. It got wet because the water leaking through it. It got all around the nut that goes on there, so it's a real bitch to get off. I had to went all over the house looking for a flashlight because I went and tried to get the thing to shut off, bent the thing, and it snapped because it was older. I went, shit, then it was running. So then I noticed Dad's air conditioner shut off for the night, so I went and shut the water off. And I went and found a flashlight and started trying to take the damn thing off. It was just making me fuss and cuss. And I'm sitting there talking to Suzuki, and I said, Suzuki, I've got to find a way to get the technology to kill these people in the scientific corridor. It's got to kill them. That's the only way to stop them. I don't want to do it. I don't know how to do it. Maybe I'm doing it. I don't know, but it's got to happen. This has to quit, right? And he's like, yeah, I know. I mean, you're probably already doing it, but don't worry about it. Don't think about it. It's like, this kind of shit needs to stop. I feel like I'm in the fucking Martian movie with goddamn fucking Matt Damon. You'll figure it out, NASA. Fuck NASA. I don't have anything to prove to these fucking assholes, these fucking perverts, these fucking terrible, narcissistic, disgusting people. I've done everything required to redeem the Gospels beyond any reasonable doubts at all, And I'm sitting there, and Suzuki's like, "What? How's this gonna?" I don't know, but let's hope it happens as soon as possible, right? And Suzuki's talking to me and goes, "No, Earl, you're right. Okay, these people are far worse than any of their predecessors. Period. When they have all those stupid videos on YouTube." The Babylonians before the Tower of Babel fell, with all that computer-generated images of stuff Dune, Lord of the Rings bullshit. The same, they had that one about Samaria where I said and watch it. The guy has a British accent, so he's supposed to be intelligent. And then with the tongue, and the Bible doesn't say. And then it has this history scientist person with his glasses studying archaeological things, just like. So some idiot wrote down on a rock that they're God. What does that have to do with anything? It's not true. Just because somebody takes a rock and, marks down on it and says, I am the living God, doesn't mean that's true. Just because a human being projected their ego on a rock with a chisel and a hammer doesn't mean it gets so. Just because somebody sat down and wrote a bunch of writings about shit they were making up to manipulate people with propaganda doesn't mean it was any more real back then than it is now, you stupid fucking lost treasures of Indiana Jones with his head up so far as asked, name the cat Indiana and get out of my house. Right? It's disgusting. Okay? And it's true. And you can't say, I'm sitting there and I'm up there fixing them and getting feedback from the NASA people monitoring my brain activity. How can you say we're worse than... You are worse than the Nazis. You're worse than all the Oppenheimer shit and the Madame Curie shit. You're worse than all of them. You have mass global communications. Your science and your sexology should underpin the applications of physics of the eternal perfection of the Gospels beyond any reasonable doubt. And how beautiful the people that confirm the Gospels are. And how much better they are than you. And you have global communications to share it responsibly, intelligently, to sit there and just admit, I'm Barack Obama, I was wrong. If Earl can forgive me, you all can forgive me. Hell, when Michelle stood up for him, we sat and watched military intel from Fort Huachuca kill her and didn't do a damn thing or say a damn thing. When his mom was killed by the cancer industry and the medical industry to get him to be pissed off at all white-ring conservatives and at people in his family, they're horrible. They're disgusting. No, they're worse than the people that killed my mom for cancer treatment. Because they should be able to tell everybody worldwide what's wrong. Because the lady that reported to Congress about cancer and explained about cancer did it like in 1986 or 7, which was like 7 years before my mother was murdered by her cancer treatment. Okay, these people are the most disgusting, selfish, broken bags of shit in the history of all inhumanity that makes humanity suffer their disgustingness. And sitting and listening to those idiots at the fucking White House talk about how, well, you're going to make a lot of money, a whole shitload of money. We mass murdered a lot of people in Venezuela and a lot of people in Iran to make sure that you're fat, stupid, ugly fucking pray to Jesus hypocritically in public to make everybody think that they should vote for your candidate so you can get the market cornered on drilling for oil. It's gross. And then you get all the liberals, well, if we can just commit abortions, cut off our surgically alter everybody's sex organs, and then get everybody to agree to commit suicide so only the hottest people in the world can live in the great new world order of robots to keep us all safe from the conservatives, we'll be all right. You guys are so fucking gross. I don't know how you don't choke yourself to death when you're brushing your teeth in the morning. I don't know how you don't hang yourself in your own fucking garage. I don't know how you go park your fucking old... I don't know how you go to Jay Leno's and Reggie Jackson's garage and say, can I borrow one of your old combustible engine muscle cars and take it up to my garage and shove a garden hose into the fucking, like the German lady did with the FBI agent there, after she's obsessing on Joe Lieborn? Okay. I would like to kill myself anyway, and you don't have to go through all that elaborate thing. You can take a 22 and put it right here. You can slit your wrist and jump in the bathtub. You probably got all kinds of stuff in your medicine cabinet. You could and do a lot of things and unplug all your technological equipment so you don't pussy out and call for medical help. Seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind. Never knowing you could have Ken Watanabe stand behind you with a katana sword ready to cut your pathetic fucking head off after you take a little knife and cut your entrails out. Well, it's real hard to cut your own head off. That's true. Okay. Just call one of your best friends to just keep... Elon Musk got robots. You could program the robot to cut your fucking head off. I don't even see it coming. Just cut my head off with the katana sword, and make sure you... How many robots are there running around in Japan right now that could, be honored to cut your fucking Last Samurai head off? Top knot? God damn. Earl, I'm really pissed. Okay. I was going to go out there and play basketball and relax and get some exercise, right? And then that has been this way all fucking... That's why I hate working on these air conditioners. I've been thinking about it all month. I hate doing it. There's always some kind of hidden bummer factor. Something always goes wrong. And instead of, boom, 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 boom. And I thought, I finished that and I thought, okay, cool. And then I went and re-prepped it for Dad. And okay, it's ready to go. So you can use it. I got to go in there tomorrow morning and say, you can't use the front one. Because I don't have the hose, the water hooked up to it. So we'll have to wait till Monday to make sure that the run's running. I've got 2 floats out in the garage, and one of them will work, so we'll be okay. I just got to go out there where I can see in the light of day early in the morning and take all that shit apart and then put it back together. And it was just too hard to try to do at night with all the parts, and I was just too angry. So I had a valve in here that I was going to choose to try to replace that one with. I said, okay, just go unhook that middle valve that doesn't work on the roof up there, pull it apart, take the valve from the cabinet the cabinet right there in the kitchen, tie it up there, lock it off, and then hook it up just to Dad's so it'll turn on when it's ready and if he needs it tomorrow. It ain't going to be that hot. It's not like it's 105 or anything. So I was like, fuck. And why is it that hot? Because of the Jupiter project in New Mexico, trying to find ways to... They're horrible people. And they use children in advertising. They don't care. They will fuck with your head. They are so sick, they don't think they're sick. They think they're better than the other sick person. I've never felt or seen or been a part of... No. This is, Jesus told me that in Sierra Vista, man. Be as stupid and selfish as you possibly can and then just keep going. You can't, Jesus. It's like, And Dad still doesn't believe me when I sit there and talk about, talking to Jesus, and then you go, no, Jesus is the one who yells at me. He says I'm too nice. You'll sit there and watch televangelist things, and they're singing God sings to songs for Jesus for millionaires that aren't living the Lord's Prayer, and Jesus isn't ready to live the Lord's Prayer until I'm a multimillionaire. And I'll sit there, they're trying their best. Jesus, bullshit, Earl. Bullshit. Okay. He has to cuss at me to get me to stop. Oh, well, my whole family's like that. Yeah, I know. Joseph's family was like that, Earl. Muhammad's cousins were like that, Earl. Okay, Earl. Shit. And then nobody talked to you or nobody helped you in Sierra Vista. You talked to the member of Ali's family. I had to go talk to him. He would walk by and make contact. And when I talked to him, I said, you wanted to talk to me about Osama bin Laden. He got so scared and he said, you terrify people. I took him out in the parking lot and said, they're mass murdering people over money and won't live the Lord's Prayer. I want to terrify people. Okay? And then he told me, he goes, it's all bullshit. Every Paramount movie, everything's run by the same corporations that run the whole world. And everything that's given is just for propaganda to do that. And then I started asking him, okay, well, what about this? And this is what Muhammad tells me. No, you're wrong. Okay, I'm not telling you what the people believe from the book. Because I told him I'm not going to read the Quran. Because they say that the Quran doesn't translate right from Arabic to English. So I said, I'm not going to read it. And then when I talked to Muhammad about it, he sat there and said, Earl, does faith in God get lost in translation? No. Well, then how many years does it take for a bunch of pervert, pimp, sorry-ass pieces of shit in the Middle East to take my life and turn it into something that reflects their bullshit instead of my truthful, faithful life? 30 years. There you go. Okay. And he told me most of the points of contention that don't translate properly have to do with male-female relationships and male dominance of the relationships and all that bullshit, all the stuff they changed. And turning a lot of stuff into mythology instead of, him explaining the reality. So they fucked it up royal. Okay, and it has more consistencies of correcting, first person God, not first person. It's, there is no God but God, and God is not begotten, nor is God begotten. God always has been and always will be. Stuff. And it has more consistencies with Jews, Christian. He repeats many things over and over again that they can't not. So that Jews, Christians, infidels have changed the written word in order to serve themselves and not serve faith in the glory of God for all, and will continue to do so, and so on. In the name of the Lord, all compassionate and all merciful, which they to God, which they changed to God, which you can't, because you can't try to quantify God with human existence, so you can't sit there and put human traits on God. That's in the book of Job. So, there's just tons of stuff that, Muhammad was just telling me, boom. And then it's a science project. It's a bunch of scientists. Okay. Why aren't all these fucking scientists at Fort fucking Huachuca and NASA standing up for everything that Muhammad explained to me? Everything that Jesus explained to me? Everything that D.T. Suzuki explained to me? They're not standing up. I've got 2 fucking views, and they got Trump being president, mass murdering poor people for oil corporations, saying we're not going to have world peace till everybody has one of my fucking robots and can afford, with make-believe money, one of my fucking electric cars and electric boots. And don't forget the mohair suit. Okay? Read it on a fucking app. Save a tree. Fuck. Okay. Lily. Oh gosh. Those people so need to, if they can't tell the truth and stop poisoning people and giving them antidotes, put themselves in the ground faster than a robot can cut their head off of a katana sword, or faster than their own home security system can lock all the doors and turn on the gas and tell them, you're better off dead. Earl, that's the truth. I'm so just sick of this place. Okay? NASA and the Martian, fuck you. You Martian home invading, child molesting, mind raping, murdering perverts. You are disgusting. You are way worse than any of your predecessors. You have the capacity scientifically. You're supposed to intellectually. You're supposed to emotionally, psychologically. You're supposed to have the capacity to understand worldwide what is Judeo-Christian murder, today's present civilization. It cannot last. It's based solely on human greed and not on human need. When you look at life eternally, there truly will be work for all. And all the things that you talk about and grope for in vain will be accessible to you and you'll be doing. Shit. That lady at the UN with Judah Krishnamurti, I didn't come here to hear this. You want me to lie to you? I can't say that this corporation and what they signed 25 years ago with the Pope, who's the head of a bank that brokered mass murder deals during World War I and II, and also were responsible for the holy fucking murdering crusades. Just no. He understands history. He understands what people do and what people say and what they say and what they do. And when what they say doesn't line up with what they're doing, you don't trust them. You don't believe in what they're trying to share with you, what they're teaching you, what they're calling truth, what they're calling faith, what they're calling love, what they're calling religion. You can't. Okay. It is right to be skeptical of people that say they're Christians and mass murder people over money. It is right to be skeptical of people that say they're Muslims and mass murder over money. It is right to be skeptical of people say they're Hindus or say that they're Buddhist and will mass murder over money. It is right to be skeptical. I don't think that you are a religious person at all. Okay? But being cynical and saying you'll never be a religious person, you're not God. You don't know. You don't know what person will step up and say, he's right. Forgive debt and trespass, love one eternal, faithful, peace, share care, give in accordance to built to last, because life is eternal, grace is infinite, and when you maintain holy covenants through natural laws provided by infinite glory, you won't fuck everything up and then try to invent something to save you from your last fuck up with your next fuck up. Oh, Manjaro, you're fucking sorry-ass, pathetic, stupid-ass, poison people to death because you're sick as fucking you're a medicine company asses. God, you're such fucking horrible human beings. You are way worse than any of your predecessors by far. Okay? And what's sad is the way that you affect everyday people and have them on TV smiling because they're on a fucking Andy Warhol commercial, instead of sitting there thinking, I should be paying attention to what's available to me on social and mass media to see if there's a light in the darkness, if there's a beautiful voice howling in the wilderness saying, Yelp, Lord's Prayer is perfect, let's live it now, Yelp. Shouldn't Brigham fucking Young University, shouldn't they be the most active people in promoting my videos, even though I cuss like a fucking sailor? Well, I've met Mormons that are, they will cuss. Oh, yeah. And then they'll say, forgive me, Lord, but this shit is fucked up. Okay. I've known Mormons like that. Oh, yeah. The best Mormons that ever lived. Yes. And their wives, he's a good man. Yes, he is. Okay. I've known Mormon men like that are not Jack Mormons at all and don't like the self-righteous hypocrites and, go to church because they want a good social group with, some moral standards for their family to, socialize with and possibly marry, but it's real hard because they're such fucking assholes. What are you going to do? Well, the Lord, and they have that magical thinking, well, when we die, they'll be in hell and I'll be in heaven and I won't have to put up with their bullshit. And I think they need that, like Suzuki says with my dad, don't badger the witness. He needs that magic world to live in because, you are the spirit of Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John, and you're not getting any results. Neither did they. Okay, that's the point I always want to make people. You do know that Jesus, the God, didn't have everybody living in world peace, but it's like, old, what's the guy's name? Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice, and Carl, was it Carl Anderson? Why did you come today? Why didn't you come in the future? The ancient world where we were at had no mass communications. Well, he had to be that light. I already talked to, you guys should all know that by now, that we answered that question. When Jesus asked me, why do I got to go be crucified in Sierra Vista? I said, you have to. You're my only light out of this hell. Herschel Steinschneider, they had fucked it up so much and he'd become a psychic and stuff like that. It totally screwed up the line of the communication and how it worked. And by the time he was getting some communications because he was so distracted by everything, it was too late. I didn't know who he was until, it's kind of a lot like Regina King's thing, stuff. They showed me to him and Sierra Vista after they had done all the things to, it's horrible. So I hate what they do here. I was going to distract myself with some NCAA football, Western Highlands, and at Fort Lewis, and now I think I'm just going to go brush my teeth, take a shower, and hit the hay. Yoka hay, yeah, and then try to wake up early and tell Dad not to mess with the front air conditioner anytime today. And then I'm going to open up the barn, and I probably won't need a fan. I think it'll be cool enough. I'm going to open up the barn and shoot hoops for about an hour or two. Oh, fuck a duck again. You guys are fucked, and poor Donald. I said the world is a beautiful place, but you make it feel like it's a fuck factory. Okay, sorry, it's hard to understand my Donald. I'm not the best. Well, Donald's hard to understand, period. Yeah, he is. Okay, so, well, ducks really don't talk. It's just cartoons selling you something because, you got to buy breakfast cereal in a box, and you got to buy Tommy gun cap guns, and you got to buy G.I. Joes and Johnny West and cowboys and Indians and cowboys to girls and cowboys to girls. I remember when I used to see you jumping rope up and down, baby. Yeah, when you got your first baby coach. But you were young and didn't understand. Now you're a woman and I'm a man. I know girls are made for kissing. Never knew what I was missing. I always knew, but I'm like, one of those little, old King Cole's Merry Old Soul and Mary. Yeah, my mom. He's a little old man from the time he was. She was all. She knew. She was freaked out because Mom had this big thing on Sam Cooke, right? And she didn't encourage me who to like, what to like, or whatever. She just was talked to me like an adult and was just a very good person. My mother's a very good person. And she got real excited when I had crushes on the Miriam Cologne and Lola Falana. And she talked to her friend Mary, who got her boutiquing with her son. Anthony was his name. You going boutiquing, Mom? They used to go to the boutiques, which is the secondhand stores, and you had to go at the right times when they get the new loads in and look for all the designer stuff for cheap so you could dress up like you were, hoity-toity as cute. So Mary and Mom used to go, you go on boutiquing because Mary dressed like she was, a celebrity, And my mom was, Mary, how do you do that? She goes, well, I got a secret gift. And so they would get up it was like on the weekend, it was like Saturday morning or something. I can't remember what it was, but they get up and they go boutiquing. And that's what Anthony here said, Ma, you going boutiquing? Boutiquing? He always used to say that. But it's cute. But yeah, old Mary Ann. But yeah, she sure could call people on their crap, but yeah, but she knew how to, look after people and help people and stuff. But she was definitely a female, and in certain ways, we're all products of our environment, and I understand that, and I'm very patient and understanding. But like she said, I was always a little old man, and Mary had said that. She goes, no, I knew a man too that was a white man, and he knew from the time he was a little kid that he was more attracted to women of color than the woman of his own tribe. And well, that's, men that are like that, okay? Men that are like that have a tendency to be less tribal, secular, and insular. Okay? No, I'm not talking about Mr. Swank and other assholes like that want to mutilate the men and own the women for sex property. Okay? I'm talking about men, like I told Mr. Swank. It's like, that's pathetic. I like I'm attracted to black women, but that's because, darling, you send me. I know you send me. Honest, you do. At first, I thought it was infatuation, but ooh, it's lasted so very long. Now I found myself wanting to marry you and take you home. And, so yeah, no, that was always me. When I saw Lola Falana and I saw, Michelle Nichols, she's so pretty, she's pretty. And she's very pretty. And she has such a cute little shape on her and fun. And she's, so lots of people that look like me, I'm sure growing up had a crush on Michelle Nichols. And lots of people that look like me had a crush growing up on Lola Falana, And, and so it's just, you're a man, old Mike Whalen. Why you like Lola Falana? Why you like Ollie Anderson? So it was just a part of me. But I think a lot of it had to do with just migratory patterns and stuff too. And I'm not a tribal secular insular. I want, like I told you guys about, I'd be honored to have Bruce Lee. Well, my brother-in-law is part Chiricahua, and he's my brother-in-law, and Lawrence Lewis Bowen, So I'm honored when I have, your sister single? She pretty, right? And so, but it's so, you know how it is. And so, when you are the example of truthful, faithful love for holy covenants for many people, many people, for all people that choose to see the eternal light of the faithful soul that provides life to your temple, yes. Okay, I'm not the only one. No. I am not a God. And my Lord Jesus Christ is not a God either. He's the eternal spirit of a gracious good shepherd who is an immaculate, faithful lover of all human beings, no matter how they treat him. He will not become a vicious, selfish person that tries to kill people. But as you said, I'm like David with Goliath. I'm like Samson with the Philistines. I have to save children from growing up to be murdering, egotistical, brain addicted, trap the soul and the mind murderers. This is really hard. That's why at the beginning of this video, I talked to Suzuki. What do I got to do to get what have I got to do to make you love me? What do I do if lightning strikes me? Sorry seems to be the hardest word. You guys are bare naked ladies. It'll be, I'll gladly die over me and your grandpa. I want you to use a dart before you say you're sorry. Okay, guys, I love you. All right, we'll talk tomorrow. Peace.